Welcome to HD Coins World. If you're fascinated by rare coins and hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're going to love today's story. We're talking about a legendary piece of American numismatic history, the 1917 Lincoln Wheat penny. This ultra-rare coin has captured the imagination of collectors for decades. Every coin hunter dreams of finding one, and the prices it's brought at auction will absolutely blow your mind. Let's start with some background. The 1917 wheat penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint during a pivotal time in U.S. history, just as the country entered World War I. With millions of coins being produced for everyday circulation, most people never gave a second thought to the humble 1-cent coin. But what makes the 1917 so valuable today isn't just its age, it's the fact that very few of them survived in great condition. Most were heavily circulated, worn down, or simply lost to time. That's what makes high-quality examples so incredibly rare, and so incredibly valuable. So, what exactly should you look for if you want to identify a truly valuable 1917 penny? First, check the date and mint mark. The coin should read 1917 on the obverse, and just below that you'll see a small S mint mark, which stands for San Francisco. Be cautious. Some counterfeiters have tried to add fake mint marks to more common 1917 pennies, so if you're in doubt, it's always smart to get your coin authenticated by a professional grading service. Next, examine the coin's condition closely. Even though most examples are found in circulated condition, the real money is in uncirculated or mint state specimens. A strong 1917 penny will show sharp details in Lincoln's beard, clean separation in the wheat stalks on the reverse, and minimal wear along the rims. If you notice smooth fields, bold definition in the lettering, and maybe even some original red luster, you're possibly holding a coin worth thousands. One of the key characteristics to watch for is strike quality. The San Francisco Mint was known for producing slightly weaker strikes during this era, so if you find a 1917 with a full strike, meaning all the design details are crisp and clear, you've got a real winner. Also, some 1917 wheat pennies have die cracks or doubled features. These mint errors can further increase the coin's value depending on rarity and severity. So why do collectors sometimes pay unbelievable prices for this penny? It all comes down to scarcity and condition. Serious collectors need this coin to complete their Lincoln cent collection, and when a high-grade example hits the auction block, the bidding war can get intense. The demand drives prices to astonishing heights, especially when a coin is certified in mint state 65 or higher with a full red color designation. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the auction prices. You might want to sit down for this. A 1917 Lincoln Wheat penny in beautiful uncirculated condition has sold for as much as $125,000. That's right. Even lower mint state grades have reached $36,800 at public auction. And keep in mind, these prices don't just reflect the metal, they reflect the passion, history, and rarity behind the coin. So, next time you're going through your penny jar or coin collection, take a second look. You might just be holding a piece of American history worth a small fortune. We'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found an old or rare coin in your change? Or do you own a 1917 wheat penny yourself? Drop us a comment below and share your story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on discovering the next hidden treasure. Thanks a lot for watching. This is HD Coins World, where pocket change could be life-changing. Number 2. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of one of America's most mysterious and sought-after pennies, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat cent. At first glance, it might look like a regular old copper penny from the Denver Mint, the kind most of us have seen in old coin jars or forgotten drawers. But what if I told you there's a version of this penny that has shaken up the coin collecting world? While the vast majority of 1944 pennies were struck on copper planchets, thanks to the U.S. Mint's decision to move away from the steel coins used during World War II, a few extremely rare mistakes happened that same year. Some 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, creating a legendary rarity. These transitional-era coins are extraordinarily valuable, and here's what to look for. First, check the color. Instead of a warm copper tone, These rare versions will appear silvery gray or gunmetal, more like a 1943 steel cent. Next, hold the magnet to the coin. If it sticks, that's your first clue that you might have a steel planchet penny from 1944. But don't stop there. Examine the coin for a clear D mint mark under the ear, and look closely at the design details. Sharp wheat stalks on the reverse and strong lines in Lincoln's hair and jacket mean the coin hasn't been overly worn, something that could increase its value significantly. If the coin looks promising, it's worth having it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Why? Because when a 1944 D steel penny is confirmed, the value goes through the roof. These are not your average pennies. In fact, certified examples of the 1944 D steel cent in collectible condition have brought auction prices ranging from an impressive $60,900 all the way up to $120,000, depending on the coin's quality and eye appeal. Now get this, just when you thought that was the most shocking part, there's an even rarer cousin, the 1944 steel penny, struck by mistake at the San Francisco Mint. Only a couple known examples exist, and one of them sold at public auction for a jaw-dropping $373,750. That's nearly $400,000 for a 1-cent coin that was never meant to exist. Imagine discovering that in your grandfather's collection or in an old coin roll you bought online. This is why coin collecting is so exciting, because every once in a while, someone finds that one piece that changes everything. So, the next time you come across a 1944 penny, don't just toss it aside. Look closer. Grab a magnet, check the date, and don't underestimate a coin just because it's small. Some of the biggest surprises come in the tiniest packages. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a coin that looked unusual or had a strange color or weight? Maybe you've seen a 1944 penny that didn't look quite right. Drop your story in the comments. I personally read through them, and your find might just become the next big video here on the channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, at HD Coins World, what's hiding in your change could be worth a fortune. Number 3. Today we're turning back the clock to shine the spotlight on a highly overlooked yet shockingly valuable treasure from American pocket change history, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny. Now, while most people would glance at this coin and think it's just another post-war cent, collectors know better. Because in the world of numismatics, not all 1953 pennies are created equal. Among the hundreds of millions struck, a tiny number were minted with rare errors and exceptional conditions that now sell for jaw-dropping amounts. One of the most important things to look for is a mint state red specimen. That means the coin still retains its original fiery red copper color and hasn't been dulled by circulation or time. If you find a 1953 penny with crisp detail in Lincoln's hair, full lines on the wheat stalks on the reverse, and no signs of wear or discoloration, you may be looking at a coin worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. Even more exciting, there are a few rare double-die obverse errors out there, where Lincoln's date, or the word, Liberty, appears double due to a striking mistake at the mint. These are extremely collectible, and the sharper the doubling, the higher the price. Also, keep an eye out for off-center strikes, broad strikes, or any coin with a clearly visible minting flaw. These errors make your 1953 penny not only rare but highly desirable among error coin enthusiasts. Condition matters tremendously, and that's where professional grading comes in. If you believe you've got a standout piece, sending it off to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading could unlock its full value. And just how valuable are we talking? Well, get ready for this. Certified mint state red 1953 wheat pennies with the right characteristics have fetched $14,000, and in top-tier condition or with dramatic errors, they've brought prices as high as $64,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, for a 1-cent coin from the early 50s. So before you toss your change aside, take a closer look. You never know if one of these golden era rarities is hiding in your collection. Now here's a question for all our coin lovers. What's the oldest or most unusual wheat penny you've ever found? Share your story down in the comments. Your find might inspire our next video or even help a fellow collector spot their own treasure. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, at HD Coins World, every penny has a history, and some are worth far more than 1 cent. Number 4. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1941 D Lincoln Wheat penny, a coin that many collectors overlook, yet it holds the power to completely change your collection, and maybe even your bank account. While hundreds of millions were minted in Denver that year, only a small fraction stand out for their exceptional rarity, minting errors, or flawless condition, making them some of the most sought-after 1-cent pieces in the entire Wheat penny series. So, what should you be looking for? First off, condition is everything. Collectors go wild over high-grade examples, especially those labeled MS67 plus red by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. These coins retain their original red luster, show no signs of wear, and have razor-sharp details in Lincoln's hair, coat, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. But there's more. Some of the most valuable 1941 D pennies contain RPMs, or repunched mint marks. This happens when the D mint mark was struck more than once in slightly different positions, and it creates a noticeable doubling effect that collectors pay a premium for. Look closely under magnification just below the date. If you see doubling or shadowing on the D, you could have a rare RPM variety. Another variety to hunt for is the double die obverse, where doubling appears in the lettering, such as Liberty or In God We Trust. These are extremely hard to find, but when confirmed, their value skyrockets. Even minor errors, like die cracks, clipped planchets, or off-center strikes, can dramatically increase a coin's worth. And don't forget to use a magnet test and scale to rule out counterfeit metals and ensure correct weight. Authenticity and preservation are key, so if you believe your coin might be rare, getting it certified could unlock its true value. Now here comes the exciting part. High-grade 1941 D Lincoln Wheat pennies have sold for as much as $21,000, and in the absolute finest known condition or with dramatic errors, prices have reached an astonishing $98,000 at major coin auctions. Imagine that, a single penny that could bring in the kind of money most people wouldn't expect outside of gold or silver coins. So before you dismiss those old copper coins in your jar or coin roll, grab a loupe and start inspecting. There could be treasure hiding in plain sight. And now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever found a coin with a repunched mint mark or an unusual doubling that caught your eye? Tell us your discovery story in the comments below. We love reading about your finds, and who knows, your penny might just be the subject of our next spotlight video. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and remember, here at HD Coins World, even the smallest coin can carry a massive story, and sometimes, a massive price tag too. Number 5. Today's spotlight shines on a coin that many people overlook, yet it has turned ordinary collectors into lucky discoverers overnight. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny. At first glance, this copper coin looks like just another common post-war cent, but don't be fooled. Certain versions of this coin are incredibly rare and shockingly valuable. The U.S. Mint struck hundreds of millions of these pennies across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco in 1945, but only a small number of ultra-high-grade examples or rare errors have made it into the elite ranks of the numismatic world. What should you look for if you think you've got a 1945 penny worth serious money? First and foremost, condition is key. Collectors and grading experts pay top dollar for coins in mint state red, meaning the coin still glows with its original fiery copper color and has no signs of wear. If you see clean, sharp lines in Lincoln's hair and beard, full definition in the wheat ears on the reverse, and absolutely no scratches or discoloration, you could be holding a top-tier specimen. But that's just the start. Rare errors can boost the value dramatically. Some 1945 pennies feature double die obverse, where you'll see doubling in the inscriptions like Liberty, in God We Trust, or even the date itself. Others may have off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned, or clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a mistake during minting. Even subtle things like die cracks or lamination errors can make a difference when it comes to value. But perhaps the most exciting variation is the high-grade Philadelphia Mint version, with no mint mark below the date, that has survived in pristine condition. These are the ones that send collectors racing to auctions, and the numbers will blow your mind. Certified examples of 1945 Lincoln wheat pennies in spectacular condition or with rare errors have sold for an impressive $20,000. And in the most perfect grades, think MS-68 red or with dramatic doubling or striking mistakes, prices have reached an astonishing $92,000 at public auctions. Yes, a 1-cent coin selling for nearly $100,000. That's why collectors across the country are checking their change, their coin rolls, and their family collections, because you never know where one of these rare cents might turn up. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a 1945 wheat penny that looks strange, extra shiny, or off-center? Maybe you thought it was nothing at the time. Share your story in the comments below. I personally love hearing about your finds, and who knows, your comment might just become the inspiration for our next deep dive video. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, at HD Coins World, every coin has a story, and some of them are worth more than you ever imagined. Number 6. Today we're unlocking the secrets behind a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin minted during a quiet year in American history, yet quietly gaining fame for its incredible value among collectors. Most people wouldn't think twice about a penny from 1950, but here's the truth. Some of these cents have sold for more than $68,000. That's right. What started as a simple coin used for everyday purchases has become a rare and powerful prize in the world of numismatics. So, what exactly makes certain 1950 wheat pennies worth a small fortune? First off, condition is everything. The most valuable 1950 pennies are those preserved in pristine, mint state condition, especially those with a red color designation, meaning the coin has retained its original, brilliant copper tone with no fading or discoloration. If you come across a coin with sharp detail on Lincoln's coat, clean rims, and crisp wheat stalks on the reverse, you could be holding something truly special. Now let's talk about errors and varieties, the real game changers in coin collecting. Some 1950 pennies were struck with double die obverse, where you might see subtle doubling in the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust. These are hard to spot without magnification, but if you see even a hint of doubling, you need to get that coin checked professionally. Other valuable versions include off-center strikes, die cracks, or repunched mint marks, where the D from the Denver Mint appears slightly overlapped or shadowed. Even more rare are proof-like business strikes, which have unusually shiny surfaces due to fresh dies and planchets being used during production. Every one of these factors, whether it's an error, exceptional color, or a unique strike, can push a coin from a few dollars to thousands at auction. And speaking of auctions, let's talk numbers, because that's where the jaw-dropping reality sets in. High-grade 1950 wheat pennies have sold for as much as $16,000, and coins in near-perfect condition, especially those graded MS-67 red or higher, have reached prices up to $68,000 at major auctions. That's a massive return for a coin you might find in a collection, a coin jar, or a dusty attic box. And here's the fun part, you could have one and not even know it. So, I want to hear from you. Have you ever come across a 1950 penny that stood out? Maybe one with a shiny surface, a strange strike, or a perfect red glow? Drop your story in the comments below. I personally read every comment, and your discovery might be featured in our next video. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, at HD Coins World, we don't just collect coins, we uncover hidden treasures, one penny at a time. Number 7. Today, we're uncovering the incredible hidden value behind a coin you might already own, the 1950 4D Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it's just another mid-century penny, struck by the Denver Mint and circulated by the millions. But here's where it gets exciting. Certain versions of this coin are worth tens of thousands of dollars, and some collectors have walked away from auctions with payouts as high as $62,000 for a single 1-cent piece. So, how does an everyday penny become a collector's dream? The answer lies in a mix of condition, rarity, and mint errors. The most sought-after examples are graded mint state red, MS-67 or higher, meaning they retain their original fiery red luster and show no signs of handling or circulation. If you spot a coin with glowing copper surfaces, razor-sharp details in Lincoln's hair and jacket, and clean, undamaged rims, you might be holding a gem. But the real treasure comes when rare minting errors enter the picture. With the 1954 D penny, collectors watch closely for repunched mint marks, where the D from the Denver Mint appears doubled or shifted, a subtle but extremely valuable feature. These RPMs were the result of hand-punching errors, and when found on a high-grade coin, they can push values into the thousands. Another feature to watch for is double die obverse, though rarer on this date. This type of error causes noticeable doubling in the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." Some 1954 D pennies have also been discovered with die cracks, clipped planchets, or slightly off-center strikes, which all add numismatic interest and value. It's important to inspect under good lighting or a 10x magnifier, and consider professional grading if you think you've got something rare. Certified examples from PCGS or NGC tend to sell for significantly more, especially those in top condition. Now let's talk real numbers, because this is where the excitement peaks. While average circulated examples are common, ultra-high-grade 1954 D Lincoln wheat pennies have fetched auction prices starting at $14,000, with the most exceptional, perfectly preserved specimens selling for as much as $62,000. That's right, a coin you might find tucked away in a drawer, a box of old change, or even in a coin roll could be a life-changing discovery. So here's the big question. Have you ever searched your pennies for a repunched mint mark or error coin? Maybe you spotted something unusual and didn't know what to make of it. Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your finds, and your experience could inspire future collectors or even become part of our next spotlight video. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, here at HD Coins World, we don't just talk coins, we unlock the hidden value inside every one. Number 8. Today we're turning our attention to a coin that might seem ordinary but could actually be hiding extraordinary value, the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin, produced near the end of the wheat cent era, was minted in large quantities, with over $1 billion struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But here's the twist, not all 1957 pennies are created equal, and some have fetched eye-popping prices at auction, soaring to as high as $57,000. That's right, one little copper penny from 1957, if in the right condition or struck with the right error, can become a collector's jackpot. So, what exactly should you look for? First, condition is everything. The most valuable examples are graded mint state red, especially those in MS67 or higher, showing vibrant, untuned copper color and flawless surfaces. Coins that still shine like the day they were minted, with sharp details on Lincoln's face, coat, and the wheat ears on the reverse, are worth a second and third look. But the story doesn't end there. Some 1957 pennies have valuable mint errors that dramatically boost their value. One of the most sought after is the double die obverse, where you might notice doubling in the words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," or even the date itself. There are also repunched mint marks on the 1957 D variety, where the D from the Denver Mint appears stamped more than once, slightly offset. These are rare but very real and highly desirable among collectors. Other valuable features include off-center strikes, die cracks, and clipped planchets, all of which can make even a lower-grade coin valuable. It's worth checking every detail with a magnifying lens, and if you believe you've got something special, always consider professional grading through PCGS or NGC. Auction houses regularly feature these coins, and when collectors find a top-grade example with eye appeal or a recognized error, prices can quickly climb. In fact, certified high-grade 1957 wheat pennies have sold for as much as $8,000, while the rarest and most perfect pieces have brought in an incredible $57,000 at public auction. That's a massive payday for a coin that might be sitting in a jar, passed down in a family collection, or hidden in a box of old change. So, let me ask you, have you ever taken the time to look closely at your 1957 pennies? Have you ever spotted one that looked just a little too perfect, or had a strange mark or doubling? If so, I want to hear about it. Drop your story in the comments below. Your discovery could inspire someone else to check their change and maybe even find a treasure of their own. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget, at HD Coins World, every coin has a secret, and we're here to help you unlock it.